So if people are bigger than me, they tend to also hit harder. I tend to not want to be around. Put him down.
All right.
Hey everybody, JD here at Martial Arts Limited. I have a room full of experts, and so the question of the day is, what do we do as coaches or fighters to deal with people who are bigger and stronger than we are? So, Mike, we're at your gym.
What?
You're the
That's
host.
not why you picked me first.
Okay, you are the smallest.
Yeah, Kevin.
I'm actually the smallest, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
All right.
I don't know.
Stand back to back.
I'm around about 185 right now. So here's the thing: everyone's bigger and stronger than me. You know, that's just a fact. Everyone is. They start that way. So I've learned a few things. Largely, it's about making them do the work. Like, you need to make them commit to things. It's easier. Eli Knight says it's easier to manipulate people once you have them committed.
Got it.
You can take that for what you want to take it for. Yeah. So I need to make you do the work. Like,
Right.
if I'm running myself into you over and over again, and you counter me every time I come in, I need to step in, get you to do something, step out, then make my commitment.
Got it.
You know. That being said, there's also sometimes when you're little, you just gotta,
Hunker down.
and get here. But I think making you do all the heavy lifting, making you show me what you do, and then kind of double dutching this thing, right? And then getting in when the time is right. I think that's probably the best way to deal with it as a little guy.
So timing and then making them work.
Yeah, you got to let them do the work because you're not going to move them. You got to
Got
make them think it's their idea.
Yes. Cool.
Kevin would be the
I-
are we going in order? Yeah.
Yeah, everybody get in line.
So I do everything very similar in a way. One thing I like to add is the timing of my attack.
Mhm.
So instead of having me like make you commit, I like to counter halfway through your punch. So like a half beat, right?
Yes, sir.
So a lot of times I'm like, that's one. Or the other way, I duck a lot.
Mhm.
Because I'm shorter and smaller, I do this. Half angle, palm, and then either follow through with a kick or punch. I do like sweeps a lot. I know a lot of times it's not fun to get swept a lot, but I found that for bigger guys, if I can sweep them, it buys me a lot of time because they got to get back up.
Get back up and they're
And they
getting
get
tired.
tired faster. And then just try to catch your legs, sweep them, angled out, or just stay really close. Because I feel like as a small guy, we do have that quick feet. We can move a little faster. But everything else he said is, Icy Mike said it's the same thing. Okay?
Everything is gold.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Shane.
Sure.
Shane's next smallest.
I gotta say, this is so cool. I'm loving it. I'm learning so much. All right. This one comes from Chris Algieri, highest level boxer, also a really good kickboxer too. We did a video years ago, and he said, "Don't abandon your long range attacks." I think everyone, when they're the shorter fighter, thinks I got to get on the inside, and they think hooks and uppercuts. So they do this, but they forget all the long range stuff, the jabs and the teeps. And the teeps is going to be your longest one, so you got to play off of this. And when they start doing that back, like Mike said, we can't always just crash forward, like invite them in.
Correct.
They get in the mode of like, I gotta get on the inside, I gotta get to hook range that they're always moving forward, and it's just like they're getting hit over and over again. So take a step back, use the teep, and then start playing. There's so many things that you can work off of the teep that's gonna just a lot of opportunity.
Nice.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey. Ed, you're kind of little-ish.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I'm trying. But actually, one thing that I did a lot when I was younger, and everyone was bigger than me, which was yesterday, right, or 5 minutes ago, is I played this distance, and as soon as you set to move, I would move, and I would use my cardio against them. Especially, I liked the Dominic Cruz kind of esque movement where I'd be out here, and as soon as you would step, I would choose a direction, and then I would do my switch steps and my darts. But the idea would be as soon as you set, I would move.
Got it.
And then you hopefully would get tired. Now, if you don't get tired, yeah, hunker is.
If all else fails.
All else fails. And here we go.
Cool. Here.
Yes.
Boxing standpoint, but
Yep. So I'm looking to change the angle. A lot of times, if I have a taller opponent that's quick with the hands, a lot longer, I may actually, like if you throw a jab and the cross, I'm looking to maintain distance. I don't want them to hit me in a at the end of in the range. But I would say as far as, and that's defense, but as far as like offense, I would look to do this thing where I'm playing with their eyes. Because I realize a lot of people don't like to look left or right. They like to have you right there in front of them. So I'll play off this kind of like a basketball cross up
Okay.
I'm here, and then I'll attack off this angle.
Got it.
But I'm hoping that, yes, that happens. I put my weight here,
Right.
just to push off, and then get on that 45 and attack.
And because they're bigger, they're probably not as fast to turn and track it.
I'm hoping that, yeah, slow
Everybody
eyes,
keeps saying that.
slow eyes, and
It's not been my experience.
But they've been able to track
I'm smaller and then for some reason also slower. I don't know where these lumbering hulk of big guys that you guys are describing. Generally, they're always bigger than me and faster than me and more durable and probably better and all that other stuff. I don't know.
Better bad.
So I'm going to go from a different point of view slightly because I know obviously distance is super important. I'm going to go more what I did back in the past because I was 13 years old when I started the adult classes. So, I was more down here, but I still wanted to stand my ground. I wanted to make that transition from karate to kickboxing. I didn't want to spend my time running. So I had two things that I focused on. Number one, getting really good at counters. Right? I still have my hands here. If you come and you throw, I can counter back in between. That's a big one. If the guy's stronger and he closes the distance, I need to make him pay once he comes in. And then number two, I don't want to sit here after I've countered and let you counter me. So I have to get really good at moving out on the end. Not in and out, just on the counter and the exit.
Okay.
That's where I put the focus. The counter and the exit. So if I'm standing here, if I can move in and get my shots off, that's great. But if you happen to come in towards me first, I've got to break it and I've got to exit.
Gotcha.
So those two things, get the counters off, get the exit down. That's what I focused on when I was the smaller person.
Nice. Thank you.
Essentially, what he's doing is the opposite of kind of the mindset that we all had. We all had like play with the timing and then get in, and he's like hunker down. Don't let him know that you're scared. Sort of like the mouse run at the elephant, and they're like and then when they think to do something, you're gone. It's like the reverse of what we all did.
Yeah, and it's worked for me. I mean, it's number one. It's going to develop confidence, right? You don't have to be scared of everybody who's bigger. Just because they're bigger doesn't mean they're better. Doesn't mean that they have the power. And sometimes when we look at the guys like Alexander Volosky, the UFC champion, yeah, he's a short dude,
Similar style, yeah.
but he's got big long arms.
Yeah.
So just because you're a short guy doesn't mean necessarily you're going to be hitting less with less power or anything like that. You could be a tank of a dude at 135 pounds who hits like a 185-pound guy. But yeah, that's for me. Just going a different direction than you guys with your footwork. I wanted to get something a little bit,
No, that's-
a little bit of variety.
Yeah.
That's great. That was good. Yeah.
And the biggest man in the room?
Yeah, so
I feel like
Seth, show me what you would do to someone who's bigger and stronger than you.
if people are bigger than me, they actually do tend to be a little bit slower.
Oh, okay. There we go. Now
So
what?
if people are bigger than me, they tend to also hit harder. I tend to not want to be around.
I feel like this is another video idea. This is that two-man T-shirt. This is the next one.
Put him down.
why are you holding him like that? Oh.
It's like Andre the Giant from The Princess Bride. Here.
Oh god, I'm getting ribs hurt. What I tend to do is I tend to want to take away their legs as much as possible. So bigger people tend to hit harder. So what I'll usually do is I'll attack the front leg a bunch and make them start checking. And the more they start checking, the more they sit back a little bit more
Right.
and pick their front leg up, which gives me a little bit. If your front foot is forwards, you've got like a lot more limb for me.
Right.
Whereas if I can back you up a bit more and I can kind of just like really touch this and make you like think, okay, sit here, then I get to do what I do best and move around. Not everybody moves around super well. So it's not an answer for everybody, but for me, if somebody's taller than me, I'll like do a bunch of jabs, I'll get really sideways so I utilize as much length as I can, I'll be here, and ideally just make them start to pick this foot up and want to hit me hard. And then I'll like, be able to see more, I'll be able to, it comes from a place that's further back, your hands are closer to your head, your shoulders are closer to your head level rather than being way out in front of them. That's my goal.
Is there a general consensus? Like, is there a principle? Like, what are we describing doing? Like, it's like with the spinning attack, it was about getting position. Like, putting them in the position or getting ourselves in the position.
Yeah.
What is it with this one? What are we trying to do?
I think timing was the big thing I picked off of most people.
I think the big thing that people forget is there's weight classes, right? Everybody forgets, like, hey, the sparring, it shouldn't be a full fight. If you have people who are using their size and their strength against you, they're being a bad sparring partner.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be
That's a
sparring
big idea.
even with this size difference. Like, what do you weigh?
150.
You're the same weight as me. But still, even with like maybe I'm 160 right now, but 10 pounds makes a difference. People don't recognize that.
Yeah.
I got to scale back. You have sparring partners who aren't doing that. Mediocre sparring partners. So the idea like, oh, I have to get really good at sparring guys who are this tall, full power. That's kind of stupid.
We could just go hard as hell all the
Well, you
time.
talked about it in Charlotte about being a good partner for other people. Like, hey, somebody had to be, we had to be the, I mean, somebody was a dummy for us to beat up so we could get to where we're at.
Yeah.
And we have to be the dummy for somebody, or the next generation. And so then I think that kind of ties into what you're saying. Like, but I know as coaches or instructors, sometimes we don't get to pick and choose. Like you said, everybody's going to be bigger than you. So you still have that tactics.
Yeah.
And so
So
cutting
you can survive
angles,
around.
cutting angles and timing, it sounds like is the keystone.
I think the general, if you had to apply a principle to what everybody said, it's choosing the range and time of the engagement 2 times. I either choose to be all the way out or all the way in, or you choose to be all the way in and then all the way out. But you're choosing and not letting him set and decide, or Seth, like putting him here and then getting him to do this. It's you dictating the range and the timing of the engagement.
Yeah, Seth, I think, put it to like, I remember we were taught fighting 90% mental, 10% physical. And I feel that's exactly what you were saying. Like, hey, I'm going to make all these things happen to fight your fight, not my fight. Yeah. That's how I took yours.
So your brain has to be more. You're weaker in the body, so you got to have a stronger brain.
Right.
Essentially.
Mind, body, spirit.
Thank you, everybody. Subscribe to everybody's channel. Thank you, guys, everybody. I'm out.